and we just never got any pressure on him at all. So yeah, that was a bad performance by the Seahawks. It's just it was. I'm sure that Mike McDonald and all the coaches are beside themselves, and it's time to look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, it was. And by the way, I was up there peppering B-Walt and Ray Roberts with questions during the halftime. Just the idea, because I knew people were going to go, they look past him. They look past him, trap game, and I was talking to both of them about that, going, do you put anything into that? And they're like, absolutely not. Not a chance. Did any player, media, fans, we can all look past an opponent and go, oh, yeah, that's an easy one. The tough one's this one. To a man, everybody has said that it's just not what happens in the NFL. Maybe in baseball when you're playing game 97 of 162 and it's the first or second game of a series against a team that's losing, maybe you don't have the same fire. But the NFL, there's just too few games. It's too precious. Each one means too much. So the idea that anybody's in that locker room going, it's the Giants, we're fine. It's nonsense.
Well, it's not. I mean, I think 100% of ex-players would tell you that there's no such thing as that. But also just the people that follow the team closely like we do, you know that's just not the case. And it's kind of discouraging because I would love to be able to explain that away in that regard. But it's really that, they kind of expose some things. And here's what happens. You get into like this part of the season, and especially against a new coaching staff, you start to kind of figure out some things, and counter. And we'll get to the special team part later. But, there's coaches that are sitting in rooms, in dark rooms, watching film and cataloging all of the things that, these tendencies, and I think we can get them here, and I think we can get them there. And that goes on every week with every team. The other thing about the trap game is that you ask most players, and you've been there, I like to ask the players, who do you have next week? And 90% of the time, they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't have any idea. Now, somebody knew last week because the Thursday night game and they had to get tickets or something. But yeah, other than that, it's just, but again, like I said, that's almost the discouraging part. You'd like to explain it away that, they just looked past them and now they're going to be super serious. Not the case. They went out there and they got beat.
Well, it gives credence, it gives ammunition to those that were saying, hey, You went 3-0 against questionable opposition at best. You had a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix on the road, his first start of his career. You had a career journeyman in Jacoby Brissett, and then you had the second string and Skylar Thompson, and then the third string of the Dolphins, playing quarterback. So for those that were saying, let's see what they look like when they play real teams. And I don't put the Giants in that conversation, by the way. With all due respect to them, to me, yesterday was much more about what the Seahawks didn't do as opposed to what the Giants did do. I mean, I give them respect. They're an NFL team. Those guys are pros. They've got talent. But that's just not a team you should lose to. I'm sorry, on your home field. So which team is real? The 3-0 Seahawks or the one we've seen the past 2 weeks where the defense in particular the past 2 weeks, the offense was great against the Lions. Not great yesterday, but the defense in both games was terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they have been down some players, so I will give them that. But I would say, the whole bad quarterback thing, you played a bad quarterback yesterday.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is now 39. I'm sorry, he's 24-39. Now, going into this game, it was 23-39-1. And we look at his numbers, they're okay and everything. But look, it's just a reminder that if you don't play your best football and you have gaps open and you have coverage that's failing, Daniel Jones will beat you. I mean, I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback. I just don't think he's considered one of the good quarterbacks, where you have a guy that's like your franchise guy, you're paying him. And I think they're paying him like $40 million. Mm-hmm. So, good for him, but bad for the Seahawks, man. It was tough defensively, especially. And then, offense, there were some mistakes and things that just didn't get done. Once again, I thought that Geno gets sacked 7 times. And that was where I thought the worst matchup would be for the Seahawks is against that defensive line, and it proved to be that was the case.
Yeah, after the game, Mike McDonald just talking about the fact that, and we all saw it, that they were outplayed in all 3 phases of the game.
Talk about not doing the things in all 3 phases to win a football game. Got to give the Giants credit. They outplayed us today. with that said, we gave ourselves a chance to tie the game and even win it there at the end of the fourth, and came up short. So the message is we don't got enough time to sit around and put our heads down. We got to keep our heads up, take it on the chin, move forward. So we got a game in 3 or 4 days, and we need to be ready to go. So we need to get better in a hurry.
It's the Niners, coach. That's what they're playing.
Yeah.
No, he's probably trying to just scramble to, like he said afterwards, we'll probably spend an hour on this game. And I don't know. I don't think that that's truly going to be the case. I think that they'll catalog some of these plays and put them in, hey, this is how we fix this part of our defense. And they'll be looking at those plays for a while until they get it fixed. But yeah, you saw the Niners dropped one to the Cardinals over the weekend, but still, they're the 49ers, and they're 5-0 against the Seahawks over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big challenge, and they're going to have to move to fix some of these things, especially in the run game. We saw what they did to the run game last year when they came here against our run defense. They really knew how to attack that defense. So I'm sure that Kyle Shanahan's looking at, I think he's going to get something entirely different than what he sees on film against the Giants. But because I do think when you're out of your gap and it's like, okay, this is how we're playing this, and this, I don't want to say it's an easy fix, but what it is. The worst part of it is when you don't know what it is. Last year, we didn't know. I don't think the coaches knew what the problem was. I think Mike McDonald has a pretty good idea of what the problem is. I can't figure it out because I'm looking every time. There's a different guy and a different gap, and I'm not sure exactly how they're playing it. But they had a couple of plays where it was spectacular. And then, there was the 10 longest plays were not good.
Did anybody have a good game yesterday? I was thinking about it last night. I went, well, Tyler Lockett, I thought, played a good game.
Yeah.
And Jerome Baker made some plays. I don't know if his entire game was good, but and that's not even hyperbole or trying to be sarcastic. Did anybody have a good one? It was honestly who could you point to and go, you know what? This guy did his job.
Tyler. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I thought
did Baker have a...
Well, yeah, he made some spectacular plays, and, it was my mom used to have that saying about the girl with the curl. When she's really, really bad, she's bad, and when she's really, really good, she's good. He had a little bit of that.
A little of both.
Yeah, he had a couple of plays. Now, I would say, just me looking at the film, why did he go in that gap and not this gap? Maybe that's not his gap, but I didn't see anybody else around that would be in there. But then, he makes the hit on the goal line. He crushed Daniel Jones one time on a scramble, and he had some good plays. I think there was some good and bad in there with Baker. I think Tyler's probably the guy that was the most consistently good. And then you see DK, the very first catch of the game he should have had. He redeems himself, catches the second one, but then he ends up with a fumble. So there was good and bad for him. There was a lot of mistakes, and I was very surprised by that. But it was a good reminder for me too, because I really had looked past them as a broadcaster, which really doesn't matter to anybody.
I don't think you had an impact on the game.
I don't think I did either. I appreciate that, but I think it's just kind of a reminder that every once in a while you need to be reminded that everybody in the NFL is good. Daniel Jones looked like an All-American, man. He was it was unbelievable what he was doing, and he's a big, tough dude, and I really admire that. But when he trips over his tackle and falls down and fumbles the ball, I'm like, this is the Daniel Jones we're gonna get.
Yeah.
We didn't get that one.
No, and he's credit to him. He is tough. He is not afraid of contact. He's going for it. You don't see him ducking for cover very often, and that leads to a play. There were back-to-back plays where I'm going, all right, what's going on here? Offensively speaking, Seahawks had the ball 3rd and 12 at their own 24-yard line. It's 3rd and 12. Geno scrambles, great scramble. I think he knows where the markers are. He starts his slide a yard short. I'm thinking, you got to go for it there, don't you? You can't, be thinking about I'm gonna get down for safety and put us in a 4. You got to know where you're at on the field. To me, that was a huge mistake. And then the very next play, 4th and 1 from their own 35-yard line, they decide to go for it, and Geno drops back, they fake the handoff, he drops back, and he gets sacked. They lose 8 yards. I'm thinking, in that part of the field, based on how things have been going with the O-line and everything, you're going to go for it on 4th and 1? I don't know. To me, those were 2 plays back to back where I'm going, what, Geno, you got to, I mean, and he had some great moments yesterday. I'm certainly not putting this all on him by any stretch, but in that moment, 3rd and 11, or 3rd and 12, and you slide a yard short of the marker, you got to know. And that's where, the Daniel Jones, he's going head first. He's almost seeking contact at times. Not saying you need to be reckless, but you got to be aware.
Yeah, I guess Geno just, that's the one penalty, or the one, not penalty, but rule where I think it actually does favor the defense. That,
where they start the slide.
Yeah, the start of the slide. I'm always like, wait, I don't even think he's started yet, and I think that goes their way, and I think he just misjudged that. But the thing is about last week against Detroit when he had that interception, he went and just plowed a guy like he was mad at him and hit him hard, and I'm like, okay. I don't think it's because he doesn't want to take a hit there. I just think he thought that he had the first down in that situation. So, yeah, you would have liked to have seen him dive and extend the ball and all that, but I think he must have lost track.
What do you think of the 4th and 1 from their own 35?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been genius if it had worked, but I don't know that maybe Geno should have checked out of that. They had 6 guys on that side of the line, and I think they only had 5 guys, 6 once you get the running back out there. But even if Tyler, was that who was in the backfield, I think? He came out of the backfield.
I don't remember.
Maybe
who
it was
lined
K9
up back there. I can't remember.
You know what? I think it was K9. So even if K9 had blocked Brian Burns and it would have been 6-on-6 over there, Geno wouldn't have had really anybody to throw to. I thought he was going to throw it to DK, who was kind of coming across the field, and I thought he would check up and he was going to throw it there, but DK didn't even have his head turned and looking at Geno. So I don't know where that play was going. And I'm wondering if maybe they should have checked out of that because of the number of guys they had over there. There was a guy coming free and there was someone to cover everyone.
Yeah, that was in Mike McDonald on with Brock and Salk explains the decision to go for it in that situation.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a decision throughout the week that we really liked our menu on the 4th downs. We felt confident in it. The numbers, again, you're not always going to put it on the analytic numbers, but we knew the model throughout the game and in those situations was a go, and so that's what we did. And I mean, yeah, it didn't work out for us. Is it the best call if the DN's going to play it exactly like that? No, it's not the right play to be in. But the best you can do is prepare the absolute best you can and try to make the right decisions. And we're going to learn from that. It doesn't mean we're not going to go for 4th and 1s in negative territory moving forward. That's not what we're saying. But yeah, it's obviously you wish you would have got it. But you look at your process and you say, okay, well, we had a play we liked and we went for it and we didn't get it.
I'm glad to hear him say that because you can't be scared. You can't play scared, and you can't go, okay, we're not going it for 4th down in negative territory ever again. And like he said, you just have to execute. You're learning from these things, and I mean, it's easy to, in hindsight, to look at it. If that play would have worked, he would have been a genius. That's how it always goes. I remember Pete never got credit for going for it on 4th down when he converted, and that's just kind of the human nature, right? But yeah, I'm glad to hear him say that. No, that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. Obviously you were in the wrong call there, but they'll learn from it and move forward.
Yeah, that was one. I'm going to say in the moment up there in the press box, kind of looking around, going, "Really? They're going to go for this here?" Because the chart's probably right. They've got their formula and all that, but don't you have to sort of read the game, read the room, if you will, and say our O-line is having a problem. They're not getting any push. They're not protecting well. This may not be, I know what the chart says in these situations, but we have to consider what we're actually seeing out there with our O-line and our protection. We're going to go away from what our formula says. Don't you have to sort of adjust to the circumstances you're being presented with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to question their play calling and, what they saw during the week and what they saw from the Giants. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, it's certainly something that comes up, but I The problem up front, I thought, was that they weren't moving guys in the run game. And then, obviously, they got away from the run game because in the first half, they had 2 carries for 2 yards.
Yep, 90
And
total yards.
It was 22-8 as far as the
Time of possession.
time of possession. I mean, it was really, really tough at halftime. So yeah, and they got away from it, and they kind of never went back.